Good morning, everybody. Randy Go, Trout Magnet Man with you here today. It's a gorgeous day today, but it's a Sunday. I don't fish on weekends, and I can guarantee you, a beautiful Sunday like this in November, these lakes will be covered up. So it's best I just stay at home, and I'll go fishing tomorrow. Now today, we're going to talk about JDM area trout rods. A couple of people have wanted to see my collection of rods, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3 series. I'm going to do area trout rods, aging rods, my Beirut rods. They're going to be separate. I don't really like to compare. I mean, you can compare as far as actions go, but area trout rods designed to do one thing, and aging rods designed to do another thing. And my Beirut rods designed to do another thing. There are 3 totally different rods. Believe you me, they are. Now you can get some that are going to be similar, but area trout rods are designed to catch highly pressured trout in what's basically in Japan as pay lakes. Although some of these pay lakes are not like the pay lakes you know here. These things are elaborate, they're nice, they're full of big, huge trout. These rods will land huge trout. These rods have to be sensitive because those fish are so pressured. What happens with the trout in there, you get what's called, the Japanese call it the kiss bite. It's just barely perceptible. They just kind of swat at it a little bit. So you need a very sensitive rod for that. Now, the rod I'm going to start out with, first let me tell you some trout rods I no longer own that I bought that didn't work out for me. The Daiwa Premi, which is a beautiful rod. It's a lot of fun, but it is dead as dead can be. So it's gone. I gave it away to a young man to introduce him to ultralight angling. And I understand he's having a ball with it, and I was happy to do that. Then I had, early on, I had Major Craft Trapera and Major Craft, the original fine tail. Those rods are gone. They were nice when I had them, but that's been 7, 8 years ago, something like that. So they're gone. I no longer have them. I got into high-end rods, and once you go high-end, you don't want to go back. That's the problem. And let me always preface, you don't need these rods to catch fish. I'm a tackle enthusiast. I got a lot of rods. I'm going to continue to buy rods. We'll be buying more now if I can source them, but they're getting hard to source because of the pandemic. A lot of people just don't have them. You can't get them. I mean, it's a pain in the rear to go after a rod you've got your sights on, and you can't find it. You may can find it, but they won't ship FedEx. They're waiting for the Japanese EMS mail service to open back up, which they have not. You can take your chances on that, but no telling when you'll get it. So I'm trying to find rods to buy, particular rods that I want. The Super Bellezza from Graphite Leader. I'm trying to get one of them. It's just hard to do. And I know some of you are going to comment, well, you need to try this rod, you need to try that rod, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing, folks. I can't afford them all. And you got rods, I mean, like the Anglo line of rods. Love to have one, but the cheapest area trout rod from Anglo is $750. Then Anglo also makes a bamboo spinning rod. Starts out at $1,500. So those are out of my price range. And I understand that Rodeo, which is, I think the way you pronounce it, Rodeo, makes a fantastic rod. But once again, they're hard to source. They're not up there with the $750 price range, but they're pretty expensive, but they're hard to come by. So there's tons and tons of area trout rods out there, and I'm going to get my way around to trying as many as I can until I no longer do this. But it's just going to take time, and I got to watch where I spend my money, because I've said I don't have unlimited resources. But anyway, we're going to start out with Major Craft. Now this is a Major Craft fine tail area stage, 6'3" super ultralight. I ordered this rod basically for people who watch my channel who might want to buy a good JDM rod, but they don't want to get in on a high-end rod. This rod, so I ordered it, I said I'm going to see what it'll do. Well, it's fantastic. It's extremely sensitive. It's 180 bucks. It's readily available. It's a fantastic rod. It has the SICK S guides on stainless steel frames. it's absolutely a beautiful rod. If you can see that there, I'm going to try to do this here out in the sunlight where you can see. It's got the cork on the rear of the grip here. It's got burgundy winding checks with burgundy thread, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fun rod, but it's a fast rod, and you're going to find out when you start getting Major Craft rods. Major Craft, when they say fast, it's probably extra fast. When they say regular, it's probably fast from stuff you're used to. But this is a fast rod. All Major Crafts are fast. That's just the way they are. Then the next in the lineup, this is the Major Craft Finetail Banshee, 6'7" light action with the Torzite guides in it. It's a gorgeous rod. As you can see, it has the what I call the Daiwa Presso orange color. I think this rod was designed like that to use with Daiwa Presso reels because it really looks good on there. And you put your Daiwa Presso reel on here, it does look good. These rods are fantastic. These rods are no longer in production. Major Craft got out of the high-end trout rod business. I don't know why. They could always come back in. But I love these rods. Now, these aren't the lightest rods. The new Major Craft area stage rod is, I think, 1.85 ounces. These rods weigh around 2.2, 2.3 ounces. Even the other ones I'm going to show you, the super ultralight and the extra ultralight. But boy, when you get one of these in your hand, you pick it up and you feel. And when you pick one of these rods up, something goes to your brain and says, hey, this thing is great. Now, it's a 6'7" rod, but it is fast, trust me, it's fast, okay? This rod is great for bluegill, Kentucky bass, of course trout, which it was designed for. But it's a fantastic rod if you're fishing for bluegill and you think you may get into some pretty good sized Kentucky bass or even some smallmouth, because it's got the length and it can take the pressure off the line. They're just fantastic rods, and as you can tell, me having 4 Major Craft trout rods still on hand, I love them, absolutely love them. Oops. Then the next one is the Major Craft Finetail Banshee 5'9" extra ultralight. This rod is really a joy to fish with. It's also fast. And like I tell you folks, all these Major Craft trout rods, they're going to be fast on the area trout rods. Once again, you can see with the Presso orange trim rings, winding checks, with the gold thread, titanium frames, Torzite inserts. This rod is great for bluegill. It's great for trout on the riverbank, which Normandy should be getting their trout stock soon. I plan on using this rod a lot over there. I mean, it's perfect because you need to make short casts. You can't go as far on your back cast because of trees and stuff. This rod just shines in that area. This is not a rod I'll be getting rid of. I will have these rods till the day I die. I love them that much. I was really disappointed Major Craft didn't come out with a newer model Banshee, because you get a lot of rod for the money with this. But like I said, these rods, you can still find them in certain places, but Major Craft is no longer making them, but folks still sell them. I think Digitaka and Platt too, I think, still has some of these rods. And if I didn't say, of course I got too many rods, but now the area stage, which I fished with very little but fished with enough to know it's a great rod, I'm going to give this to my son. As soon as we get back together and get to fishing again, this is a gift to him. I'm sure he's going to appreciate that. Then the next rod is, let's see here, which one I got. Okay. The next rod is no, that's the one I just reviewed. The next rod is the Major Craft Finetail Banshee 6-foot super ultralight. Once again, with the Presso orange winding checks, the gold thread with the orange thread also, with titanium frames, Torzite inserts. Fantastic rod. I mean, this rod is a true super ultralight. Once again, it's fast, folks. It's fast. I mean, but now these rods are sensitive beyond belief. That's why I still have them. They're a lot of fun to fish with, and I have different scenarios for fishing, but I'll take certain of these rods. Like I said, trout season is going to start. This will be one that, of course, trout season is year round here, but I mean, they're going to put the stockers in close to me, which I can go over and fish for 5 or 6 months for them. This will be one of the rods I use over there. Now, okay, folks, the next rod we got is a rod I've had for a couple of years now. Palms Urea, E-G-E-R-I-A. It's an extra ultralight, 6 foot 4 inches. It's a slower action rod, much slower than the major craft rods. It is not as sensitive as any of the major craft rods. It's sensitive enough. I keep it because it's a lot of fun to fish with. I usually prefer to fish with this with P line or braid, as we call it here in the States, or the ester monofilament, which gives you a little bit more sensitivity with rod. It's a great rod. It's just you know, and it's no longer in production. At least I don't think it is. It's a fantastic rod. I keep it. You can see it. It's a beautiful rod. This is bar wood. That's real wood for the reel seat. It's absolutely beautiful. It's held up. It hadn't cracked. And then the cork trim at the rear and the fore, or fore in the front, and on the butt here. It's a beautiful rod. It's just in a black finish. It has the Fuji 6 inserts on steel frames, except for, and I don't know why they do this, but they do. They seem to think it makes a difference. It has a Torzite titanium tip on it, the tip top. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why they do it. I love fishing with this rod, especially in the springtime. Get on bluegill bedding. It's just a lot of fun. The blank behavior, it's okay. It doesn't have the good blank behavior like the Diplomat Extreme, but I mean, that's not, you know, when you start looking at the price of these rods, you know, this was, when I bought this rod, I think I got it for 140 bucks, something like that. And believe me, it's worth 140 bucks. It's as good as darn near any rod you can get off the shelf in the States, maybe with the exception of the Loomis, and it's certainly not as good as the St. Croix Panfish Elite rods they have out now. But it's a rod well worth the money, and I absolutely love fishing with it. You just feel good when you have this rod. It is a thing of beauty. Once again, I'll show you this bar wood here. That's a reel seat. That's a pretty reel seat there, let me tell you. So I like this rod. I fished it for trout a little bit. It's not really a rod because it's sensitive, but it's not as sensitive as any of these other area trout rods. It's not really great for fishing. If you really want to step it up, this rod would do far better fishing micro cranks or micro spoons than it does soft plastics. But I keep it around because it is a lot of fun to fish with, and plus it's a gorgeous rod, beautiful rod. My son, one of my sons will get this someday. So, okay. So that's that rod. Now we come to my latest acquisition, the Diplomat Extreme horizontal 6 foot 2 inch ultralight series rod. Beautiful cork grip. This is a burgundy. I don't know how well you're going to be able to pick that up. And then the rest of the blank is a matte gray. You might even call it a matte black, but it looks gray to me. It has the titanium frames, Torzite inserts. This rod weighs 1.7 ounces. To me, it is. It's light as a feather in the hand. It's a gorgeous rod. This rod was touted as for automatically hooking fish. When you get those light bites, the fish turns. The tip is so soft that when the fish turns, he's hooked before he knows it. And you can see this is a soft tip. I mean, it's soft. This is a regular action rod, but this tip, it's the softest tip that I own. And let me tell you, fishing this rod is something else. It's sensitive. All these rods are sensitive. Is it more sensitive than the fine-tailed banshees? Not really. Not at all. But the way you hook up a fish with this is so much different. You will feel the pressure when a fish has it in its mouth. Now, if a fish just nips at it like them little bluegill to nip it, you'll feel it. You'll feel that little thump. But when a fish decides to take that lure, here's what's interesting about this rod. This tip, you won't feel that little thump. You won't feel it. What happens is you feel the pressure in this tip, and if you just quit winding, no matter what you do, just stop. This tip will continue to bend, and all of a sudden the fish is hooked. He hooks himself. So that's not marketing by Abu Garcia. That's a fact. I have fished this rod a lot the past month. I mean a whole lot. Caught a lot of crappie with it, a lot of bluegill, and I'm gonna tell you, this rod, of course, I don't set the hook on fish anyway. Those of you who watch my channel, you know I don't set the hook. I don't have to. Since I started using these rods and Daiwa gecko and jig heads, you don't have to set the hook. But this rod here, I would venture to say that the fine-tailed banshees are more sensitive than this rod. But this rod, fishing it, because of it being soft, slow taper, it's a lot of fun with smaller fish. It's a lot of fun with crappie. And I have caught some Kentucky bass with this, and it works out good. This blank behavior is outstanding. The blank doesn't wallow around all over the place when you get a bigger fish. It's just a gorgeous rod. And I mean, I absolutely love this rod. I fish with it too much. I need to put it up and take some other ones out. And I will, depending on the fishing conditions, what species I'm after. But all of these area trout rods, if you're wanting a rod for bluegill, for crappie, yellow perch, these are the rods to get. I mean, they just are. These rods, though, however, are not designed. For instance, this Major Craft 5'9". You really understand about what area rods are and stream rods, even though I don't own a stream rod. Stream rod's designed to fish for trout in current, and they have a lot more glass in them than they do graphite. Well, I shouldn't say that. They have a lot more glass content than the graphite content on the fine-tailed banshees. But they are designed to get in big fish in current. I can tell you right now, when you hook these with an area trout rod, when you hook up a trout in some current, it don't have to be a lot of current. It's a chore to get them fish in. And I will eventually, I'm going to get a river trout rod. I haven't made up my mind which one. I want one because when this pandemic's over, I'm going to be hitting up the Little Red River, the White River. I'm going to be throwing some vibration baits. I'm going to be throwing some trout cranks from, get me some from finessefishing.com, and I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to need a river rod. But right now, fishing lakes, flat areas, these rods are absolutely superb. You won't go wrong. Now, like I said earlier, I want a graphite leader Super Bellezza. It is an absolutely gorgeous rod. It's expensive, but it's not, it's not a $700 rod. It's like $450, which that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, folks. But I want one, but I can't find one. There are a couple other rods. I have my own area trout rods. I've become an area trout rod fanatic, as you can see by the number of rods I got here. I love them. For the type fishing I do, they're excellent panfish rods. I mean, they just are. There's no way around it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I appreciate all you watching. I appreciate the comments. And we're going to continue to fish. I'm having spinal surgery on the 23rd of this month. If all doctors come to an agreement to let me go through the operation, which I think they will. And that, I'm hoping, is going to fix me up where I can wade fish for trout again, which I have not done in a long time. And I miss it, and I want to get back to it. You get these rods with some trout, guys, you got guys and girls is watching, you got fun off the charts with these things with trout. and I hope to get back to wade fishing. So anyway, folks, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments, and hope all of you are safe. Hope all of you are doing well. So until next time, sore lip 'em all, and life is good.